What's up, everybody? It's your boy Z the Barber coming to you with another episode of Barber Code. Here with my girl Coco.
Hey everybody, we got the illustrious NY Style Barbershop,
The
world renowned.
illustrious, world renowned.
just claiming those future sayings, just claiming those future accolades,
Nah, it is what it
manifesting.
is. We
Right.
are we are that today.
Oh, facts.
Illustrious.
Facts.
We deliver illustrious service.
I agree.
But yeah, talking about illustrious service, I've been having a problem with seeing people, not people, barbers, stylists, not really charging what they supposed to for styles and cuts.
The whole price thing. For me, I've always felt like in a shop setting, I think there should be a set price and everybody should kind of adhere to that.
Hmm.
But in a environment where it's like a salon suite or people are kind of separated a little bit more, where you're kind of your own boss,
Hmm.
then whatever floats your boat, whatever you think you should charge. But I definitely feel like to charge less than $20 for a cut, which is a set price for a cut, is crazy.
So you think the staple right now for haircuts in 2020 should be
Should be
$20
20? Absolutely not.
at least?
At least 20,
Okay.
yes. Should be
Okay.
20? No. I'm all for bumping it on up to 30. I would even say 35. 35 is pretty good.
Yeah, I can see
In
35.
today's world, yeah. I
I
can
can see
name so
35.
many things I've spent $35 on that don't even last me as long as a
Yeah,
haircut.
like meaningless, right?
Right,
Pointless.
exactly. So I really feel that 35 is a good price. That's a
Yeah,
good
that's
price for a
$5 a
haircut.
day, right?
Right. You know?
That's good for a haircut
Yeah,
length. It's like your
$35
hair
these
grows back
days.
within a week.
See
If
what
I
I'm
spend
saying?
$5 a haircut, $5 a day on a haircut. That's pretty decent.
Right.
$35.
Exactly. That's not, I don't think that's a lot. I feel like I see a lot of people saying, like, oh my God, I would never charge or I would never pay over $20 for a haircut, blah, blah, blah. I feel like you're only saying that because you've never experienced anything over that. But I think that if that was a set price, as
Hmm.
in, like, once you get your license or once you become a beautician or a barber or what have you, they have just a tier of things. Like, here you go, here's a price list you can start off with. You are
Hmm.
now a level one master barber.
Yeah. Oh,
Just something that really standardizes it, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. I never understood why people set it in their minds to think that haircuts should be lower than what they actually are when
Exactly.
something so important as your appearance,
Right,
you
is
know what I'm
on the
saying, is on the
line.
line.
And honestly, I feel that because I think the way that I think about the prices, I also think that people who are still learning or who are still, coming out of school, $35 is good, but I think you need more practice in
Hmm.
school. Because if you're coming out of school and you're still not true to the fade technique, you're still not giving that quality haircut, it's kind of crazy to say $35 when somebody, I mean, I just feel like it should be free if it's not right then.
Hmm.
That's what I'm getting at. I feel like it should be free then
Hmm.
if it's not right. Like, say, for instance, you mess up the hairline or you mess up something that where it's like, this is kind of, I'm always noticing it. I'm
Or at
always
least
going
at
to
a
see
discounted
it.
price.
Yes, then I think that that should be in order, just at the barber's discretion. I think maybe discounts, but $35 is a set price. I like that.
I think if we have to pay attention to students coming into the barber or styling world and having to consider their work skill level and applying that to price, I
Right.
think schools then should be a little harder on their students and prepping them
Exactly.
for the real world. Because
Exactly.
if you're tossing them into an environment where said said client expects said result in service,
Right.
I think better preparation from schools are going to have to take place, and then a more stricter entry laws, or not laws, rules for coming into barbershops and salons, because I feel like there should be auditions, you know what I'm saying, resumes presented,
Yes.
so you can actually work at that rate, and you know what I'm saying, the barbershop or stylist
Yes.
or styling salon, excuse me, feels comfortable with having workers of said criteria.
I like that idea, and I definitely think that shops and schools should definitely be harder on their students because going through school, there were so many. I mean, it's treated like a college. It's kind of like you've already paid. We're
Right,
not
right,
gonna
right,
make
right. We're not
you
gonna make you.
right. We're not gonna make you want this. This is hey, your waste of money.
Hmm.
And conversely, I feel that there are a lot of people that skate by because of that,
Hmm.
and still end up being licensed cosmetologists out there in the field that really have they didn't take it seriously in school, so they really don't have the skill set that they should have. And because there's so many different scenarios. Say for instance, I went to Aveda, so there were two different sides, and I had the weekend side where it was like Thursday, Friday, and
Hmm.
Saturday. And of course, more people come into the salon on Thursday, Fridays, and Saturdays. It ran more like a salon would outside of the school. We
Okay.
got a more realistic view of it, and so I did learn how to take my how to break my time down. How to get my clients out of the door on time, make those sales, and also give them a great cut or color or what have you,
Hmm.
versus the other side where it was kind of Monday through Thursday. It was a little bit more lenient. They
Hmm.
didn't have a lot of clients coming in, so they were practicing on each other and working on each other. It was more relaxed,
Hmm.
and I think that that can hinder a stylist in the end when you don't really have that true I don't know this person sitting in my chair experience. When it's always your friends and it's always like, oh, you can talk the way you want to talk and you can do whatever you want to do on their head. I don't think you're getting a realistic experience.
Hmm.
I don't think you're getting a realistic experience when it comes to getting your license and being a hairstylist. And they always say that it comes after the skill comes
Right,
after
right, right.
the goal with school has always been sanitation. It's always been getting your license.
Hmm.
That's always been the major goal. But can we say that there should be another test as far as skill set is concerned?
I
Because
mean,
there
I
are
believe so.
still, yeah, there's still
Um,
specific criteria as to a great haircut.
yeah,
Evenness all
yeah.
around and
Well, in New York, that's the difference between going to school up in New York and then coming down to Georgia and seeing their curriculum, and then taking the test. In New York, we have to work on a live client, whereas in
mm,
Georgia, you work on a mannequin.
right,
So we have a couple of proctors walking around, examining the test as it's going on, and they're looking for things like evenness, cleanliness,
right,
technique, things like that. Also looking for how you handle when you nick or cut someone. Are you taking the proper precautions?
right.
Things like that. That's the viability of having a live client to see how you actually fare in the real world versus in Georgia. It's more curriculum driven or academically driven, where most of the knowledge is coming from a book. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Page to
It
page,
is,
and you're
yes.
required to remember up until test date.
Right.
Um, Up north in New York, everything is more hands-on, so we only get about a week of actual orientation and working from a classroom desk with a teacher standing in front of you, and then the week after that, you're straight
You're
into the
right into
field.
the
And it's where I was in ABI, New York, American Barber Institute. It seemed as if we had a swinging door for clients who were willing to walk in and have a service done by a student. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you're getting a haircut at a way cheaper price.
right,
They sign their waivers understanding that you're a patron of a school.
right.
So
And whatever it
whatever happens,
happens,
happens.
you can't
So
sue, right?
you can't sue. So
Because they're not professionals. I
yeah,
mean,
and
it
yet
is what it
still
is.
you had like a good group of people coming in weekly, monthly, yearly
Right.
that
And
was giving us
right,
enough
enough
practice time.
practice. Exactly. That's how I felt with my experience with the Veda. But I just know that there are so many other people who went there that didn't feel that way. That felt
Mhm.
like they learned nothing, that didn't have the motivation,
Mhm.
and they still got a license. But at the end of the day, the skill set was not there for them to just hit the ground running, for them to really just start charging
Yeah, yeah.
$35 or what have you. And honestly, it was not there for me either when it came to fading. I mean, at Aveda, they didn't put a lot of emphasis on fading. It
Mhm.
was more so just all over evenness for the side of the head because we focus more on scissor cutting.
So you
Right.
do think that schools are in it more for the dollar, getting the students dollar opposed to actually teaching?
I think the overall feel of the teachers varies person to person. There are teachers that are very passionate about making sure that students learn and that they are teaching passionate people, really making sure that they're really conveying their passion for hair to others. I think that there are teachers like that, and I also think there are teachers that are just there for the check and constantly talking about how they get the money either way and constantly talking about how this is just their job.
So we're
So
working and
it
vice versa
varies.
too.
Yeah, it varies, but I think the overall institution is definitely for the money
Yeah, it's for the
because
dollar sign. So we're working and vice versa.
right.
Also, it not only does it apply to the school, but also the student has to be attentive to what they're learning. Also, so
Right, exactly. I think it works both ways as far as that. But with it being treated like a college, I think with it, and also with it being more hands on, I felt that I just asked a lot of questions.
hmm
Whatever I didn't know, I wanted to find out, I wanted to
I
understand.
was the same.
And having that is more important than expecting a teacher to just be that person that's going to motivate you all the time, that person that's going to make you get up and cut this hair and blow dry this hair again or whatever. I think by having the passion in you already and actually wanting to do it, you'll end up having the skill set necessary to charge the $35
Yeah.
versus you not really being able to do anything because you didn't put the focus on it. But I don't understand how those people are able to still graduate and still finish their credit hours and still do all these things that I have done. It kind of feels like, you know how you have a group project
hmm
and there's that
Yeah,
one
you're doing
person that
more
didn't
work
do
than
nothing.
someone else. Yeah.
Exactly. That's kind of how I felt. I do think that they should take that more seriously. And I think that part is just about getting the dollar. It's like we still need these people out of here. We still need so and so to graduate on time to match our percentage for the end of the year. We still need, because that affects our bonus or
hmm
whatever it is. I think that those logistics are the reasons why people who just drag ass throughout the whole program are still counted as completion when in reality you didn't really do any of the work. You sat on your butt the whole time. Nobody really made you do
It's a
anything.
cold
You
world,
see what I'm
man.
saying?
That's
It's like these
crazy.
hours that you are required to learn and these 1,000 hours,
hmm
1,500 credit hours that you're supposed to have, you spent the majority of that sitting on your ass.
Yeah.
It's like I don't understand how that suffices as passing. I think as a teacher or even as an institution, I'm like, if you're going to graduate, I would like for you to come out of here and actually be doing it 5 years from now.
hmm
Because, the statistic is that 50% of people who graduate from cosmetology school are not doing hair within 5 years.
hmm
And I feel like those are the reasons why. Because there are so many people that just kind of think it's easier
Yeah.
and they just slip through the cracks and they're just pushing them through. And in reality, they didn't learn anything or they don't really want to know anything about the industry. So you're
Right.
not going
Right.
to be doing hair in 5 years. You're not going to be motivated.
Yeah. When I think about it now that you're saying it like that, because predominantly of your hair schooling career has been in Georgia.
Right.
I'm thinking about the pass and fail rate in New York, and I don't think it's abnormally high to the point where they're just trying to get passing students for logistics. I think they're actually failing people by actually observation through the
Right.
test, and because we have such a strict testing, opposed to the strict schooling, which we don't really have.
Right.
Um, that is like the end or be or how they select and choose who's going to go on to proceed to be
I like that dynamic a lot
yeah,
better.
yeah, I
I
think
feel
it's
like
so
it
dope.
requires you to be serious about
Yeah.
it. It requires you to actually learn. And I'm not saying that that's the reason why they were, well, yeah, at the end of the day, it affects
Mhm.
their income.
Mhm.
But I don't know the entirety behind it. I
Right.
don't know how many students, across Georgia are really passing or failing. But I have witnessed that,
Mhm.
where somebody's sitting in my same class or sitting right next to me is not doing anything, and yet they're still a part of my graduating class.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like it makes it hard for me to stay motivated, or it makes it hard for me to be passionate about something when somebody is constantly talking about how they're not learning anything and they're not doing anything and it's this is that and this is stupid, and it's just like, well, nobody told you to spend money and come here. Then
Mhm.
go and
Mhm.
do whatever the hell it is that Christ compels you to do.
Right, right, right.
And leave me alone because
Mhm.
I'm trying to get what I want. I've chosen this.
Mhm.
I was older than some of the students there anyway. So for me, it's like this is my second go around.
Yeah.
I only have this one chance to get my education and decide. Like I chose this career
Mhm.
field. This isn't something that I did out of high school because I just
Yeah.
thought it'd be
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
This is something that after after years and years of going in the other direction, I decided that this is what I wanted. So I'm taking it seriously. I'm, actually putting the energy behind it. And to look over and just see somebody random who is not hurting and also having to have a job and also having to sustain themselves as an adult, then they're just like, oh, well, I don't care. I don't care. This is dumb. This is
Yeah.
hard. This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this. And I'm just like,
Yeah, yeah, that is crazy. It's like spoiled.
yeah, exactly.
But again, like you said, there was years in between, like youth versus like somebody who's experienced.
Right.
So yeah, but even still, as a youth, like I done it when I was 19. So I was diligent about it. Like it was no, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna slack off. Like I wanted to actually learn how to be a barber. Like understanding how to fade was something that really intrigued me and forced me to have to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Like it's forced me to take from good examples who were working around me. Forced me to ask questions, like you said. Like,
Right.
but
It's because you actually want to know.
yeah.
But I didn't like the accountability.
Hmm.
That was the only thing. I don't really care about what someone else will and won't do, but the accountability part of it is where I just kind of didn't take that part of my experience seriously.
Yeah.
Because on one hand, if I'm motivated and I'm trying to understand what's going on, and this person right next to me is still passing, it's just like, well, why am I trying so hard
Right.
anyway? I could have just breezed through like so and so if I had that mentality. But it's like, I don't know if so and so is going to be here 5 years from now. She
Right.
may be in that 50% that are doing something else. It is what it is.
Is that the statistics for that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Those are the actual statistics. 50%.
So
That's a
50% of the people who enroll in school end up doing something else.
50% of people who graduate.
Oh wow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like you
Wow.
went to school and some people do it because they think it's easier. They don't do it because they're passionate about it or understand the dynamic behind being a new stylist in the industry. So they just think they're automatically going to be 10 years from now making,
Crazy.
$1 million a year.
That's
They just think it's going to
staggering,
happen.
man. That's staggering.
Right. But I feel like a lot of people have that mentality across the board. I feel like a lot of people want that instant satisfaction, and they aren't understanding that the things that happen to people, how you go from being good to being great, it's not just a matter of time. It's about putting in the work, what you do with that time.
Yeah, I had some people that I worked with, some barbers that I hired who wanted instant gratification, and they acquired the master licenses or whatever, and that's another concept I want to get back at. But they got their master license and they got into the barbershop. Like I said, was expecting instant gratification. Didn't understand the idea of marketing oneself. You know what I'm saying, having patience. You know what I'm saying, just developing a mindset and get comfortable with the life of being a barber, opposed to what I'm saying, thinking that they want to strike gold immediately.
Right. I never understood that.
Yeah, and that forced them away. You know what I'm saying? Like really hearing the truth about the hardships that entrepreneurs have to go through just to be where they want to be. Like most of the time you're looking at pictures and results from a path that's about 10 years long, but you're just seeing them at the end or in the middle, and
right.
like you thinking that's instant. No, that's all hard work. That's all work ethic.
Yes, and dedication.
And dedication, and knowing that you have to get on that horse and do the exact same thing. Like,
right,
there's nothing that's gonna fall into your lap.
And more importantly, it's consistency.
Yeah.
It is doing the same thing with that same amount of energy, with that same amount of drive. It's wanting and being hungry enough. I think that people reach a specific plateau in their life, and it's like, oh, well, I'm good, which is fine. That it's very fine to be comfortable with your situation, but on the other end, don't expect that same magnitude of success, in your eyes that other people have if you're stopping at level 1, or level 2. These are people who are on level 10, 20, they've been at this, they're still hungry. They want to be a part of so many different avenues, and I feel like that I can resonate with that. I love this. This is what I'm passionate about, and I want to be a part of it in so many different aspects. And of course, because I'm putting the energy behind it, they will essentially be successful because I'm putting the required amount of work into it.
Right.
I'm not expecting to just start something and the next day is going to be great, but I am expecting to reach a specific point tomorrow. I am expecting to, hey, be a little bit better tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I could say that. I can, vouch for that.
Yeah.
I am expecting those results, but when it comes to things that are 10 years down the road, just having those goals and continuing to work towards those goals,
Mm-hmm.
making the necessary movements to keep me aligned with those goals. Those are the left and right turns every day that you have to do in order to get there.
Yeah.
And it's like people are just doing whatever, and it's like, I don't understand why I'm not where this person is.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're doing the same thing, but you're really not.
Right.
It's you're trying to be comfortable. You're trying to do it. It's like, which is it's so unrelated, but it just reminds me of something that I saw when I was hiking. Like, you know how we scale Stone Mountain,
Mm-hmm.
right? And some of it is really steep,
Mm-hmm.
and people will legit try to climb it without really lifting their legs at all. They're just like trying to walk up
Yeah.
it, and I'm like, that's not happening.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You got to stretch out.
Yeah.
You got to
You have
kind
to work
of
for this.
right, exactly. Got to kind of sweat a little, and I think that that's important. Just don't expect to be comfortable. Don't expect to do this and not want to scream or be upset when
Mm-hmm.
things don't work out. It's like it's just a part of life.
Right.
But if it's what you love and you're serious about it, it's not gonna stop you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a setback.
That's the
whatever.
Barber Code. Go to school, keep the passion, get your knowledge, and get your skills up so you can graduate and charge those prices that you want to charge. Because you're going
Facts.
to be sadly mistaken and sorely hurt when you realize that you put in all this time and this effort in school, and then you come out and you're not making what you want to make because of your skill set, or because you're not passionate enough. So, you know what I'm saying? Keep your head strong. Keep one foot in front of the other, and that's going to get you where you want to be.
I agree. And I'll even put a little asterisk there towards the end, a little side note. Don't get discouraged by how fast or slow your business may or may not be picking up. As a new barber or hairstylist, people just don't know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't know you exist. So just keep that consistency
Yeah.
too. That's key to really being successful. And it's just like you said, like work on other aspects of your service
Mm-hmm.
until you get that skill set that you desire, until
Definitely.
you feel like that alone should be enough to charge $35 or whatever the price is.
Mm-hmm.
Continue to work on your service.
Yeah, the service. You definitely want to level up your service. And that goes for old school barbers and current
Right.
barbers alike. There's definitely ways that you can elaborate on your service to make it better. You know what I'm saying? If you want to add massages, or you want to
Right.
add linings to the eyebrows, different things that
Or
you
man
can.
wigs.
Man wigs. You know what I'm saying? Just add to the ticket
Yeah.
and just help lift you up, because those are the things that are going to help transport you to success.
Exactly. Take you over that hump.
Yeah,
To where it's
definitely.
like, dang, man, I'm making six figures as a barber.
Right.
That's what's going to take you over that hump, the whole complete service.
Yeah, it's
I think
definitely
the more
possible.
that you add on, the higher you can take the ticket up.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, it is what it is. It's supply and demand. But I really feel that a lot of barbers, once they get to that point, not so much like the six-figure point, but once they get to a point where they're really good at their work, they kind of get stuck in their ways. Like they don't market themselves. They don't. I see this a lot with barbers that are that have been doing it for a long time, or just older barbers. They tend to kind of get set in their ways where it's like, this is fine. This is
Yeah.
what I want to do. I make good money, and for me, it's not acceptable. And not saying that that's a bad, way to go, because hey, it is what you love, and if you want to just be behind a chair, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I just don't desire that for my entire livelihood, for my entire career. I just want to do more. I know that being behind a chair is one aspect of it, and I just want to experience so many more things in this industry. So for me, it just wouldn't fit. But I want more older barbers to kind of continue to educate themselves on being a barber. If you desire to be behind a chair for 25 years, definitely make sure that you're learning the techniques for that day, for today's clients.
Right.
Make sure you're keeping up with the trends for today's clients, because that's going to ensure that you continuously gain clients, because you still lose 20% of your clients for whatever.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you're gaining more than 20% with keeping up with times, keeping up with trends, just doing what people want.
And I think that can go into one of the other topics that I brought up earlier about acquiring your master barber license. You out here working and you obtaining knowledge, and most people that I've seen respond to the idea of master barberhood, they wouldn't hand over that title because barbering is an ever-changing industry.
Mm.
Uh, it's artistry, so nobody's artistry can really be tailored to mastery. It's only
Right.
all by opinion. But
Right.
my thing is, I always felt the contrary to that because you can master barbering by understanding your business, mastering your craft and profession. I think through mastery of understanding your profession, that's where you truly excel in any form of entrepreneurship or whatever you're doing.
Right.
Just master what you do. And yes, you can't master art because, like I said, art is objective, subjective to objection.
No, I feel you. It
Yeah,
is subjective to objection. Some people like it, some people don't.
yeah, but I just had like a brain fart. So
Oh,
yeah,
what
but
was the
anyways,
word?
yeah, it's all subjective and objective. So you trying to master barbering by the means of cutting, you're never going to achieve nothing because the game is ever changing. But
Right,
if you master
exactly.
the understanding of your business,
Right.
that's where you would truly excel, and I think that's where mastery lies. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So like you're just saying the skill is very minimal.
No, the skill is not minimal. I feel like you're gonna acquire skill over the course of your practice,
Oh,
but that doesn't
regardless.
make you a great barber. Like on social networking, you can look at these guys trying to sell
Right.
you their haircuts and style, and to
Right.
you as somebody who's unknowledgeable to the haircutting industry, wow, that's a beautiful haircut. He must be a
Right.
master barber. No, it's just somebody who's really good at cutting hair.
Yes.
They're not a master barber, or from the top layer, it doesn't look like so. There's so many different aspects that go into being a master barber that it's not just about cutting hair. That's only like a small portion of what the job actually is.
Right. I
So
agree.
work on becoming a master of your profession, and that's where you can achieve masterhood.
I agree. Like so many, because there's so many aspects of it.
Yeah,
There's so many things that you can neglect
yeah,
if you're not careful. And then it's like, well,
yeah,
why isn't my business growing? Or why
yeah.
isn't, this doing what it's supposed to do? And it's
Mhm,
like, well, in this area, you're kind of slacking. And in
mhm,
that area, you weren't going hard as you were before. It's
mhm.
like you definitely have to make those rounds,
Right.
continuously focus on that.
Yeah. Yeah, like a lot of people, they get complacent. They get complacent, like you said, like older barbers, I'm saying they need to learn newer tricks so they can stay up to date with today's time.
Right.
Um, I think that sort of train of thought right there, where you stop trying to learn, that's where you lack mastery. In saying like a person who understands that the game changes and I have to be ready and ahead of that curve, that's a master barber or master stylist
Right.
or somebody who's a master at their craft. They
Right.
understand the dynamic for which they work,
Exactly.
you know?
And they are not expecting it to just go one way
Right.
or, yeah, to be just a vacuum,
Right,
where
right, right,
everything is perfect, these perfect conditions.
right.
There's no deviating from it. You just really have to understand that anything can happen,
Anything
honestly,
can happen.
that
I have to
affects
be
your
ready.
clients.
Right.
Anything. And
Right.
you have to understand that when this happens, you are supposed to do something
Yeah.
about it. You have to know what it is that you need to do to
Right.
keep your business
Right.
moving. You need to know the different aspects of your business as far as marketing,
Mhm.
as far as just like the downtime that you
Mhm.
have. You need to figure out what you need to do to continue to keep your ball rolling.
Right, right,
You can't
right.
just expect people to just come in and out of the door for you.
Right, and that all comes with time. I'm saying those are
Exactly.
things that you're going to learn over the course of the way. Yes, some things people can teach you and give you a couple of warning signs for the road ahead,
Hmm.
but more than likely you're going to have to walk in those footsteps yourself and get
Agreed.
that learning.
Right. And then I also think about it like what I as a like because I do get my hair cut. So what I as a client
Mhm.
would be looking for
Mhm.
in a barber. What would I trust myself to cut my hair,
Mhm.
if I was outside my body
Right.
and I walked in, would I sit down in my chair or
Mhm.
would I enjoy the service that I
Mhm.
provided?
Mhm.
I always think about that and take myself out of it because I think when as a beautician or as a barber, a lot of times we forget about the the realness behind getting a service and being the customer instead of being the service
Yeah.
provider. I think sometimes we can lose that essence and not understand where people are coming from.
Because a lot of people are focused more on just the haircut. They're not focused on being a barber, you know?
Right, that's true.
They're focused on just, I'm cutting hair. I'm a barber. Like,
Right.
no,
Yeah,
bro.
that's yes. That's very true. It's so much more than that.
Yeah.
So much more than that.
It's like, okay, what's going to happen when that guy leaves your chair? You're still a barber.
Right,
What are you
exactly.
doing?
Exactly.
How's your day
It's
progressing?
like,
Did
what
you,
do you,
yeah, did you
yeah.
promote yourself? Like, did you
Right.
do
Are you printing
anything?
out
Like,
your business cards? Are
yeah,
you
yeah.
doing, that reminds me of things I have to do for
Right,
myself.
but
Ooh,
you know what?
right.
This is why we have
While
these
I'm talking,
conversations,
right?
you know? This is like to
It's
get
like, what
the
are you doing while
yeah,
you up too? That's another thing. When you're up, what
yeah,
are you doing to make sure your ball is still rolling?
yeah,
As,
yeah.
as also, don't just wait until you're down to start working and start getting hungry.
Mhm.
When you're up, you should also be just as hungry
Yeah.
and understanding that this is temporary.
Mhm.
You know, there's ups and downs. So
Mhm.
when you're up, it's just as temporary as when you're down.
Exactly.
So yes, take that, take
That's
everything.
Barber Code,
Yes, take
man.
everything.
Everything is temporary. Everything is temporary. So be prepared for the unknown. Oh my
Yes,
goodness,
the
that was
ups and
dope.
downs.
That was dope.
You know, it
Ups
just came
ups
to
are
me.
temporary, downs are temporary.
Yes.
Wow.
Because I really just think about it like that. Like, wow, how many ups and downs have I had in this
Yeah,
industry, you
yeah.
know, in this career field? And I think the main thing that I really learned that really kept me grounded was the consistency.
Mm.
I feel like that overpowers all else. Just going from so many different scenarios of shops and also just coming back to where, you know, where it all started and understanding my position now. I
Mhm.
think that is what really makes me look back and go like, wow, I really came a long way. And even from a smaller scale, you
Mhm.
know, just being here since October,
Mhm.
that consistency means so much more than the skill set.
Mm.
It really does. Because I don't think I'm the best at this shop, but I built a little staple for myself. I built a village for myself. People come in and ask for me. Ha! You
Yo,
know?
it should never be about who's the best.
Right.
Not even about who's making the most money. Did I give a good service? Is that client coming back?
Exactly.
That's what you should care about.
Yes.
Don't worry
I agree.
about what everybody else is doing in the barbershop. Worry about what you're doing. You know, worry about whether you're providing that good service and if that client is going to come back. That's the only things that should be worried about. Most people get tied up in who's the best. So I got to try to. I mean, it's okay to compete. That's going to raise the level of your quality of haircut, but don't get absorbed by that. Just worry about the client. That's who you want to worry about. That's who's important, and that's ultimately what's going to help you in the future. That's where your success lies in treating clients with great customer service.
I agree. That reminds me of something that someone told me. When I was training at another salon, we had a teacher who was introducing us and, well, putting us into an orientation. His name was Greg. And he said once, he said that even if you aren't that good at the service, if you're giving your client an experience and if you're putting your personality forward, that's something that someone else doesn't have.
Go
And
ahead,
it will
Greg.
ensure that that person's going to come back to you until you get good.
Greg got
It
Barber
will make
Code.
sure, right?
Hmm.
Greg got that on lock.
Hmm.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Greg.
shout out to Greg
And
with
it's
that
something
Barber
that really
Code.
stuck with me because sometimes I do get, or, well, yeah, even today, I feel like sometimes I do get discouraged by my skill set. Not saying that it's bad, but saying like, oh, well, you know, this was better than that, or I
Hmm.
could have did this better. Or
Shoot,
sometimes I
I'm
get
still like
really
that.
meticulous about how I do my cut, and people still come off with this great experience, you
Hmm.
know. Or sometimes I feel like I'm holding people
Hmm.
hostage. Like, let
Hmm.
me just get this one little thing, or let me just do this, just being a perfectionist.
Hmm.
But I think that overall they just enjoyed the experience.
Hmm.
I think overall they enjoyed the haircut,
Yeah, that's great.
and they'll still come back if
Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
great.
you know, oh, this could have been better or that
Right,
could have been better. They're
right,
still willing to let you try
right.
again and let you remember that.
Some people can go off just potential. You know what I'm saying?
I
Some
agree.
people see the potential in your abilities and I'm like, okay, it's not the best haircut, but that like you said, the service was amazing and I'm willing to come back and witness the evolution.
Right.
Like a lot, I'm the same way. I said this before. I'm all down for the road of watching someone evolve. That
Right.
metamorphosis is dope.
Same. I
Yeah,
enjoy it. I enjoy
yeah.
watching it.
That metamorphosis is dope, and I think clients are the same way. I've had a lot of clients that my man Remy back in New York. This is one of my mans. Like what I'm saying? We chilled together. We had dope conversation together. And he saw me, came into the shop, and we were young, you know what I'm saying? And I look young now, so imagine back in the
Right.
day, I looked even younger,
Baby.
you know?
Childish,
He was
right?
like, and I'm older than him, so he's like, yo, this young dude right here, let me see if he can cut my hair. And he loved it.
No,
He
wow.
loved it, you know what I'm saying? He didn't think at the time it was like one of the best haircuts he ever had. But he was like, yo, I can really get down with this kid. You know what I'm saying? He got heart, you know what I'm saying? He got a little skill on him, and
Right.
we're going to work it out. And that dude's, he's been my client for a decade,
That's
you know? A
amazing.
decade watching me evolve and become the barber that I am today. And it's cats like that, like I said, who's really going to like, they're really going to be the ones to show you like success. Like,
Right, I
just,
agree.
yeah, that's dope. It's dope.
And I like that because a lot of times I feel like when people come into the shop where we're just like shooting the shit or
Yeah.
arguing about whatever, and then they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, thanks for the conversation."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
We get that a lot.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah,
for the
yeah.
conversation,
We
y'all.
have debates in the
Right?
shop, and dudes be
Could be
sitting there
neck and neck, right? Like
back
what?
and forth.
These are good points,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And they were like, thanks for the conversation. I'm like, bro, you wasn't even in
Right.
it, but all right.
I know, right? I'm like, oh, no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah. I
We just be
forgot you was
talking,
there.
right?
But nah, that's dope, right? They sit there and like, yo, this is dope.
Right.
Conversations flying back
It's
and
like you
forth.
wouldn't expect
Yeah.
these types of
But
things
that's the
to.
barbershop, man. Like, that's
Yeah.
always what it is. Like, people chopping it up, shooting it up. And it's like, yeah, that's that barbershop experience, man. That's what dudes come outside for. Come to the shop to get their line for, see what they talking about.
All right. What's the word on the street?
Yeah. You,
I like that because I've never experienced barbershops
yeah.
until I really started working in them because
Hmm.
I didn't really get my hair cut or
Right.
anything like that. So I do love that dynamic of it. I love the openness behind being able to just kind of speak your mind. And I love being on a devil's advocate for whatever. I love playing devil's advocate. I love giving people that different shoe to put themselves in, that different perspective anyway.
Yeah.
So to know that I have a nice voice in it, to know that I have a good standing where it's like, how some people can just be like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know. Right.
But no, I come to the table knowing what I'm talking about
Yeah,
nine
yeah.
times out of 10. But I do like that I'm able to participate.
You think there's shops that aren't like that?
I hope not.
Oh my
I
goodness! I
hope
was
there
just
aren't
thinking
shops
that,
telling people to
like
shut up
like
and sit down.
them upscale like barbershops, quote unquote,
Right.
where
No, I feel like, well, I can say that the openness is not there in upscale salons. I don't know about upscale barbershops, but I feel like the openness might not be there. But the clients still will talk the way that they always talk.
Okay.
You still find out the craziest things about your clients.
I
and
met some crazy
yeah,
dudes
like
sitting
you
in my
still
chair,
right.
man,
you
from all walks
you
of life.
still right. You still experience that in
Yeah.
upscale places, but you as the professional are not. I don't think you're. I think there's a standard that's circling around and kind of an underlying tension of like, don't get too free.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not like that at the barbershop because we've had times where we got heated discussions where we're like
Mofos be
borderline
spilling
yelling,
their life. Like, what?
borderline yelling at people with clients in our chairs.
Yeah.
So it's like, nobody
And
really.
the client is like, what?
Right,
Yeah.
I know, right? Nobody's really, judging us by it,
Yeah,
but
nah.
I think they might in that in that environment. If we're yelling across the salon in an upscale
Yeah.
place, they definitely be looking like, can you tone it down?
Right.
That was inappropriate.
That's weird, man.
Did you curse? Right.
There's so many different dynamics that like shops and salons offer, man.
That's true.
It's endless.
That's very true, but I like that because it makes it so that there's a place for everybody. Just as much as there's a market for everybody, there's a place for you to conduct your business where you can still feel like yourself.
Do you think situations like environment should hurt the factor of price? Like you think because we're in an environment where we're so open and talkative versus, like I said, a quote upscale barbershop or salon, you think pricing should affect how people feel about their environment?
I think that no, I don't. I don't think that it should affect the pricing because I've seen very alternative shops where there are a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds, and shops where there is just come as you are.
Hmm.
So some people are cursing, some people are not, or whatever it is, but
Hmm.
it's still going to be the price that it is. It's
Yeah.
still going to be pretty upscale.
So if I walk into a barbershop or salon, let's keep it barbershop for a second
Right.
because barbershops have crazy fluctuating prices, and a haircut would say $50. Should I expect to hear like profanity in the background, like kids running around, things like
The
that?
kids running around part of it, maybe not, but only for the safety issue. Not really so much of,
All right, not
I
necessarily
don't
like
want to hear no
horseplay or
kids,
nothing like that. Not necessarily horseplay, but like
Right. Just
kids in the
having,
environment, and
no. No,
and
I
some
think
people
that
don't
it's
like
about
that,
the service. I think it's about the service. If you're getting hot towel on your face and a steam and a this and a that, you're still driving that ticket up.
Okay,
So regardless of the environment, I think that it's about the service
right.
more so than anything. I think all the things that we provide, all the add-ons that we have, if we're bundling all of that together to say it's $50 flat and you get all these list of things and you can choose between this and that,
Hmm.
I think that people will still be willing to pay the $50 for that. Because at the end of the day, these are still people.
Right,
People have kids.
right,
People
right, right,
understand how kids are.
right,
I don't think anyone's walking in here expecting to see no children of any kind. Children get haircuts too.
right.
So I don't think I don't think that affects the dynamic of it, because even in upscale salons, there's children kind of playing around or doing whatever, just being
You're being
kids.
kids.
And nobody's looking at them like,
Yeah. The reason why I asked that because you have different areas set around cities, and areas affect the pricing of the haircut price. Now, for instance, we in Georgia, you go to Buckhead, one might think that haircut price is higher,
right.
but when you come to the south side where we are, you might expect the price to be lower. But people associate areas with demographics of people. In
Right.
certain some people might think it's slummy hood
Right.
area, people who's less educated. You come into a barbershop or salon, people speaking out of context and things like that, opposed to you go to a more quote upscale area,
Right.
and now everyone's acting with prestige and
I think that wherever you decide to make your staple, wherever you decide to plant your feet, you should understand that it's your business.
mhm,
And once people are on the inside of this business, this is the price and this is what I would like to charge, and stick by it.
mhm,
And you will find the demographic in this area. There are still people that make a lot of money that live over here.
right, right,
There are a
right,
lot of people that stay on the south side that make good money.
mhm,
And it doesn't really matter to me the demographic of the people. I think the reason why Buckhead and all those areas charge the way they charge is because it's the center of the state. It's Atlanta. So they know that it's a tourist attraction. They know that they can charge more because people from other places are coming here,
mhm.
not so much locals. So I think that's the dynamic of it. I don't think it's so much like the people on the south side make less, or have this or that less. I don't think that's the reason why they charge what they charge. I think they just charge that much because there are so many foreigners.
You
There
think
are so
so?
many people not from Georgia.
So you don't think the idea of what people are making in certain areas like South Side versus the North Side,
Or like what
what
people are
they're
making.
making, you know what I'm saying? Because that you have to think about those things, right?
That's
If
very true.
if you're working, have your barbershop set up in an area where people aren't making a specific amount of dollar a year, it's going to be harder for them to pay higher prices.
That's very true.
But now it's like whose
But
fault is that? Like that's where I'm trying to like.
I don't think it's something. I don't think it will hinder the success of the shop. Is what I'm saying.
No,
I feel
no, not
that
the
if
success
you
of the shop. Just a matter of understanding pricing and how pricing should be applied, when it should be applied, if it should be raised, it
right,
should be lower. Is it based on like how you treat the environment when they come inside? Is it based on the service? Is it based upon where you are? I always felt like that was a factor that people equated into uh, creating their price ranges. People considered where they are,
right,
the type of people that they're dealing with, and ultimately the skill level of their cutting ability. I think people well, that's what I did as a business owner. I factored in where I was, who I was working with, and my level of ability to perform a service.
right. I think that's more important, like your level of ability
Yeah.
and what all you're putting in the ticket,
Hmm.
what is coming with the service. I
Right.
think that is all that should really be looked at as
Right.
far as the price.
Right.
Because demographic changes
Okay.
so often, and there's a lot of gentrification on this side of town anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to see a lot more diverse population, so I'm not expecting anybody. I can't say this is the poor side of town, so
Right.
let's charge this price.
And that's not something I want people to think that I'm on the poor side of town.
Right.
Because I'm
No.
not from here, and these are the things that I've heard that these areas
Are like
are like, like
No, I think it varies because okay, you have Atlanta, but you still have the west side of
Right.
Atlanta. You still
Right.
have Bankhead. You still
Right.
have there's a ghetto everywhere.
Right, definitely.
Everywhere has a hood. Everywhere
what
has
are
a
these-
poor demographic, but I don't think they congregate on the
Right.
south side. No, I think just as much as the east side has a poor demographic, the west side has a poor demographic.
Definitely.
The north side has a poor demographic.
Definitely.
I don't look at it like that at all. I just think it's more so about the business owner.
Yeah.
When you set your business up, it's what would you like it to be like? What experience would you like it to be like?
Mm-hmm.
And if the demographic is not responding appropriately to your business, then you may have to revamp. But I don't think I've really seen too many businesses that change their pricing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think eventually it goes up to whatever it's supposed to be and it stays there, and people just get used to it.
I don't think I've ever witnessed anyone like regress.
Right, exactly.
So
Yeah, I don't think I've ever witnessed that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's so much about the demographic because, like I said, there's a market for everybody. There's somebody that stays on the south side that's like, man, I wish I had an upscale place close by my house.
Right.
So, hey, get those people. There's enough out there to eat.
I always felt like I would exist in sort of the middle ground, make it to where you're providing a great service, it's always a clean environment, but you're still getting that street feeling.
Right.
You come into a homey environment where you can
Yes.
be who you are and you don't have
Exactly.
to really like mask yourself, like I always felt like that should be the barbershop vibe. And when I picked my price range should also reflect that idea also, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
Reflect
that
yeah.
anybody can kind of come in.
Yeah,
and get a
anybody can
cut.
come in
Right.
and get a cut,
Right.
but at the same time, you're not paying too little to where you feel like you're not getting a quality cut. I'm actually paying a good price for my haircut. I'm getting quality service, and I love the environment. Those are the things that I consider.
Yes, and I think that it reflects that.
Right.
Honestly, I think the shop is exactly that.
Yeah.
I think we get so many different people in from all walks of life, and some people go, that's it, or some people go, man, what, $20?
Yeah.
I think it's just like we get so many different people, but at the end of the day, you're getting a quality cut. This is the price, and these are the services.
Yeah. A lot of people don't take into consideration the times also. Like each year things inflate. So you
Inflation
have
is
to
a
be
mofo.
considerate to how barbers and stylists are inflating their prices.
Exactly.
Perspective to how their rent is inflating or bills are inflating. That's something that definitely feeds the pricing of your salons and barbershops in your area. So you have to be wary about those things. And don't really try to like jump on the backs of your barber or stylist for raising prices like sometime around the course of your stay at that shop.
Yeah, I think that's fair
Yeah.
to just rise with inflation.
Yeah.
Price of milk goes up.
Yeah. Price of gas goes up.
Right. Price
So
of
should your
haircuts
cut.
can't go up.
And plus a haircut is something that lasts you a long time. People, like you said, you spend money on some of the most miscellaneous things.
Right.
And a haircut sort of creates who you are.
I agree.
That's
And I
something you
think
should
it's
take
essential for a lot of things. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people are like, man, I really need to get my hair cut. I got this job interview coming up.
Right.
Got this, that, and the other. Like, these things make a difference
Right.
in your life.
Right.
So,
Like haircut, that's part of life. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Like that's part of life. Don King was known for his haircut. You know what I'm saying?
right. Somebody still had to shape that together. Right.
Right. Like Bobby Brown.
Yeah,
haircut,
that's true. That was a mistake.
It was a mistake.
The
the
asymmetric.
Gumby was a mistake, and they just ran with it.
All right.
But that goes to show you how much like your hair is important. Like Michael Jackson. Like look at these different people, even women. Like Farrah Fawcett.
Right.
You know
Oh
what I'm saying?
yeah. Though
The flip.
that flip,
Yeah.
right. And then it's the trends too. There's so
Right,
many different
right, right,
trends,
right.
and when something new comes out, somebody wants to know where they can go to get it. And for me, I like to be the person to learn it
Right.
and say, hey, I could do that. I
Right,
could
right.
do
I can do
knotless
that.
box braids. That's what's
Yeah.
in right now,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
could do that.
That's crazy. I
Yeah.
noticed that. Like, you go on social network and you see
Yep.
these women with these hairstyles, and you're just in the streets like, wow,
Right.
women are
The
really
new
running with these
thing.
trends. This is crazy.
Right. And the crazy part is, as somebody that has kind of been doing braiding for a while, I just looking at the videos and looking at the technique, it's just like, it's not really new. It's
Right,
just
right. It's not new.
it's a different way of doing
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
See, that's poetic
And once I
justice.
learned, right, and once I learned that, I'm like, okay, this is new.
Right.
So I'm gonna charge a new price.
Right.
Capitalize.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not just so much that the making money aspect of it, but I do like to be able to tell my clients that I'm a one-stop shop. I do like to let them know, like, whatever your whatever style you want or whatever part of your lifestyle you're in, whether you want to be natural or relaxed, or whether you want braids, whether you want weaves, wigs, I got it. You know, I can do it. I want you to come to think of me as that. Just a household name where it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey, mobile makeup, ATL at the
Yeah,
end of the day.
I can get it all right there.
Right. I can get it all in my house if I want.
Yeah.
I want them to understand that. So, I mean, for me, it's just the thirst of the knowledge. It's not even really about the money. It's just being able to say, yeah, I could do it. And not just that I can do it, but I've done it a few times. I'm fast at it, and it looks good.
Yeah, that's something I loved with straight hair. Like, I can say I can cut straight hair.
Right.
I can do that. Most people look at like African American barbers and they feel like we only can work with our style of hair. So it's like, nah, bro. I'm a full
Right.
barber. I
Anybody.
understand this. Yeah.
Exactly. Anybody sitting in this chair right now can get that cut.
Yeah. That's something I always like aspired to be, is a 100% barber. I can cut all styles of hair, all textures of hair. I'm all about hair.
And I said that too when I was in school, just not even so much about being a barber, but as being a hairstylist. I was like, I want to be able to do anybody's hair.
Anybody.
I want anyone from anywhere to be able to sit in my chair and be comfortable.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
That was my goal. Yeah, I don't know if I ever said this before, but I was working in Harlem when I first got out of American Barber Institute. And working in Harlem, although I did get different styles of haircut or textures opposed to coarse, it was more coarse hair than anything. Like, I was cutting wavy, coarse hair, afro, coarse hair. It didn't matter.
Right.
And I felt like, man, this is such a bland way to continue out my career. Like, I wanted to do something different. So that's what made me want to I opted to work in a Hispanic barbershop opposed to a black barbershop. And that was like one of the best things I ever did, because it exposed me to a completely different wave of hair. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Completely different wave of hair. Forced me to learn new techniques.
Right.
I loved it.
Just
It
the
was
way that they
amazing.
like their hair, yeah, it's very different.
It was amazing, you know what I'm saying? And Hispanic shops, you know, say you get a fluctuation of white clients. So yeah, you get, because you know,
straight hair, yeah.
exactly. They assume they can cut curly hair. You know, Hispanics sometimes
Right.
have straight hair. They can get the same style haircut. So I got to experiment a lot with straight hair. It was dope. Like, it just leveled me up in such a way. It's like,
And
it was
I
just-
agree. I think that's why I chose the path that I chose.
yeah, I looked at barbers who said, nah, bro, I just want to cut my people. I'm like, bro, you know what you're losing out on? You're losing out on
Right.
such a
huge
large market. Like, you're cutting your legs off. Like,
Right.
what's the
I
point
agree.
of calling yourself a barber if you're only going to work from one angle? A barbering is a 360 job.
I agree. And I always felt the same about stylists that only wanted to work with straight hair.
Yeah.
Instead of wanting to dive into thicker hair and
Yeah,
longer
I
hair.
hate that.
Whatever. It's like you just wanted to kind of be the easiest, best case
Yeah.
scenario. And it's like, no, I want it all. I want to be able to do whoever.
Yeah, and it's like, and I look at him like, you're not a barber, bro. You're
Right.
just a person that cuts hair.
Exactly.
You know? And I don't like that. I don't like that. Be like, assume the position of being a barber, man.
Right.
I'm down
Anybody
for that
should be
Barber
able to
Code.
sit down. And I think a lot of times, too, you have to take into account the education. A lot of times people don't go get their barber's license, so
Right.
they don't experience
Right.
any other hair texture but
Right.
black hair or just thicker hair or curly hair. They don't really experience that, and they don't know how to approach different textures of hair,
Right.
which is usually the reason why they say they don't do it.
Right.
Because they don't know how.
Right. Man, it's so deep, man. Go out there and get this education because you're hurting yourself.
Right.
Do not be a half-assed barber or stylist. You need to get all of the knowledges that you can acquire. All of that, man, it is the and or be all.
Man.
It's the and or be all. I always wanted to be a 100% barber. At least that's what I called it. Being able to cut all styles of hair, like being able to dabble in everything, understanding how to fade,
Right.
understand how to taper, the differences between tapering and low fades and high fades.
Right.
Like,
And it's so much jargon
yeah,
behind it. It's so much that you have to learn, even region to region.
yeah,
So many different
region to region.
yeah, so many different styles of haircuts and what they call them.
What
It's
they,
like
oh my
you
goodness.
definitely have to be sure about that.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. Coming down to Georgia, hearing the different terminologies that people use for certain haircuts confused the hell out of me in the beginning. People call tape ups out here lineups. Like they consider the taper to be a lineup.
Oh, that I have
Yeah.
seen that a lot of
You're like, yo,
times.
can I have a tape up? And you proceed to
And they
give
be
him a
like, and
taper
also
haircut on the
just
temple.
yeah.
It's like, no, I just wanted the line. I'm like, oh, that's not a
Oh,
taper.
I've never experienced that before.
What?
I've experienced the opposite, where they
Yeah.
wanted a line and they thought that it came with a taper.
Oh no, that's
And I was
just,
like,
that's
oh
just
my,
greed.
excuse
That's
me, sir,
greed.
that's a whole haircut,
That's greed.
and that will be $20.
Like for instance, they call a temp fade the taper.
Oh, right.
Oh, this one, a box. A box to them down here is just a fade. Definitely know the styles and terminologies for the haircuts. You know what I'm saying, that these people out here want. That works for clients also as well. Learn how to communicate to your barber. Learn the different jargon that we have associated to certain haircuts and styles. That's barber code right there. This is barber code for clients. Learn the jargon because that's going to help you out during the consultation for your haircut. Because a lot of barbers and stylists can't really resonate sometimes when they don't understand exactly how you're explaining it to them. And the best possible way of an explanation of a haircut is bringing a picture.
I agree. Oh, I love pictures.
Yeah, have a picture available. That's the best possible way. And again, don't have no completely other guy or girl with without your hair texture or with the
Right.
abundance of hair that you don't have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
And I'm honest about that too. I'm
yeah,
gonna be like, well, we won't be able to achieve this look because XYZ,
right.
but I could definitely give you something with that same feel.
Mhm.
You know, I definitely would try to get them just to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to coloring hair and the client's hair is
Mhm.
not healthy enough or it's too dark or too this. I just really break down the reality of it to them
Yeah.
versus just saying like, no.
Mhm.
Yeah. I do like them to know the why.
Yeah. But there's definitely has been guys with different styles, especially because a lot of clients make reference to icons and them having certain styles, like for instance the Nas cut or the little Bootsy cut.
Mm-hmm.
And even that new Hispanic artist, Bad
Okay.
Bunny. He has the points that's coming to the front, which is a really
That's dope.
awkward style, but I think it's dope. It's dope for him, you know what I'm saying, setting a trend for a style of cut. But also I think it's dope on the hand of his barber or stylist, who's really like traversing time with this style. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I was always interested in, is traversing time with style. And I knew that something like that it would take for you to be a celebrity barber or something like that. Somebody who's really on a high platform to influence people.
Right. And I've never thought about being a celebrity hairstylist. It just never occurred to me. Kind of like how some people want to own a shop. I
Mhm.
just never. That just wasn't my intentions.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think it'd be pretty cool to trailblaze something like that, or to just be the person behind the style,
Mhm.
where like just so many different staples
Yeah.
in hair industry,
Mhm.
like the Rachel
Mhm.
haircut from Friends,
Mhm.
and all these other different
Mhm.
hairstyles that happen upon the world, where people are like, I want to try that.
Mhm.
It's dope to be behind the person behind that.
Yeah, man. Like that's just something I always wanted to be a part of. I felt like that way, I could sort of immortalize myself in the concrete of barbering.
Yeah.
Just etch myself into that.
I agree. And honestly, there's so many different ways where you can become a celebrity stylist or barber. There's so many different ways that they have marketed
Mm-hmm.
themselves. You know, I've seen celebrities like just come to a specific town
Mm-hmm.
and whoever is popular
Mm-hmm.
there. Or I've seen hairstylists and barbers offer to do free services for celebrities in exchange for the
Mm-hmm.
networking. And it's just like, hey, you know, whenever you're in town, you just let me know next time. And if you really like this service, I really like to work with you in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And they get off that face card. Sometimes they get other clients and they make money that way.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a thing where it's like, hey, I give a free full face to, you know, Beyonce every now and then, but I'm getting 5,000 clients off of this one full face. So yeah, I'm gonna do it for free, but it
Light bulb
fed
just went
me in
off.
so many different areas
Yeah.
after that. So I seen, yeah, there's so many different ways where you can get into it, but it just was not something I
Yeah,
thought I
you
wanted.
just enlightened me to something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just really enlightened me to something. Gave me a different perspective.
Right.
You know, I always just felt like I was never in that area at the moment I needed to be, you know.
Right.
As far as timing, place, you know what I'm saying? Like just bad timing. I just haven't had the opportunity to be in front of a celebrity
Mm.
to offer my service and such like that.
But you want to know what? You
Hmm.
could definitely put that energy behind it. I
Yeah.
mean, you can, there's so many things where you can actually invest your money to get in front of these celebrities. So it's like so and so is having a meet and greet or something like that. You get your tickets there and you chop it up with them. And you're like, hey, if you're ever back in town, I'd love to give you a free service. I want you to check me out.
Hmm.
There's that way. There's like, you know, concerts. I heard like people that do meet and greets at
Hmm.
concerts will rap to them or do whatever to get their chance. It's just like, hey, you have the floor now. You paid
Hmm.
for them to sit here, so what you got?
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of people take those opportunities. I mean, it's anybody's game.
Oh
So
man.
many ways where you can get in front of celebrities.
Yeah, yeah. It's anybody's game. That's dope, man. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's our episode for Barber Code today. We definitely
Yes.
appreciate you guys sitting with us, listening to us.
Yes. Like,
Hope,
comment, subscribe.
yeah,
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 just start
yeah,
saying
definitely.
that.
Hopefully, you guys took something away and can apply it to your business or daily life.
Yes, that's the goal.
Yeah,
You
that
know,
is
I
the
hope
goal.
that that resonates with people, that it helps somehow.
Definitely, that's what we're here for. I am your boy Z the Barber.
And I'm your girl, Coco.
Definitely a pleasure. Peace.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Z the Barber here from Barber Code. And if you're feeling our content, please hit that subscribe button below.
And make sure you hit that bell too so you know when we drop in our next vid. And if you have any suggestions or comments, make sure you drop that in the chat below.